you and your family? And it's like, yeah, but like I just don't, I could just take care of it myself. So it's sort of like I discard them, and they're just kind of like, yeah, if I'm being honest, I just don't think I need it.
Yeah. I mean, I do think that is you have to be careful, because if you disarm them like too much, then you almost get like friend zoned a little bit. So if you use that pullback, then when you get inside, to get inside the house, I do think that the can we pay questions are a good solution to that, because in the way that you ask them, that's tying them down to the emotion more, and you're fishing more of the hot buttons. But yeah, a lot of the times I'll use that line that I even used yesterday. Like, hey, well, I've been doing this for a while. You can't plan a break-in, right? When do you think most people get systems, right? And so that one, I would say, would be good to use the can we pay questions, just to make sure that you're tying them down to the value, and then to the monitoring as well. So a lot of times we can get them like, oh yeah, I'm interested in the camera or whatever, but one that I always use every single time is seatbelt. But so I'm like, let's say, Lamont, you weren't in the house, right? Someone broke in. You want the cops to show up, right?
Honestly, honest one I get is like, those are generally the people that will say, yeah, like insurance will take care of it.
Right. Yeah, but you don't have a price on your family, right? That's the most important thing to you, right?
Yeah.
And Lamont, to be honest, this isn't for you when you're here. Like, just dig a hole, call me up, and help you bury him. But what's most important to you is your home, your family, and this is going to help you protect them when you're not here, because you can see what's going on right from your phone. Yeah, that's one that I'll use. Same thing, like with the fire department. Like, hey, hypothetically your house is on fire and you're not here. You want the fire department to show up, right, Lamont?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's very hard for them to disagree with that, and say, yeah, so that's on a cell chip. That's the only way the system can work. That's the only thing that you pay for. It's just the connection. We'll pay for everything else.
I think a big part of that's like the framing of it, because sometimes like you can get them on the defense, and they're just going to say like, oh, I've got a gun, or hey, I've got insurance.
Yeah.
So a lot of like that tonality that you're using, that is
right.
That works with
Sure. Or you could try the seatbelt. Like, oh yeah, the system. I mean, I hope you never use it either. The system's kind of like a seatbelt. You use a seatbelt when you drive. Yeah. Why is that? You expect to get in a car crash? No. But you still put it on every time you get in the car. It's the law. Same thing with this.
It's the law, yeah. It's the law.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and then, okay, that person, like,
it's the law.
Whatever.
It's wrong question. Yeah, wrong customer. Yeah. If they're like, it's the law, okay, yeah, move on.
What's your shirt size?
Do it on your
Alright, one thing I need help on is resetting between doors and not like letting a bad interaction go to the next one. Being the same guy on every door. Because I know I can get a good pitch out, but most of my pitches during the day aren't as good as they could be, because I'm like, I need to get better at resetting, so somebody help me with that.
I can help you.
Help me, Johnny.
So, buy yourself a pack of Starburst.
Okay.
And then when you have when you have a bad interaction, like someone yells at you or something, before you get to the next door, eat a Starburst and reward
yourself. Whoa, that's good. I'm doing that.
I'll let you do that. I swear I do that.
I like that.
Something that works for me is like after I get off the door, let's say they yell at me, I'll start mumbling like curse words under my breath. I'll take my iPad and I'll smash it on the ground. And then I'll go to the next door and say, like, do you guys have like a spare iPad? That kind of works for me.
So Cooper, what's the picture?
I have one.
I have
Is everyone going to try to be funny now? Okay, so the Starburst is actually a really nice idea though. Or even like, hey, if I get into a house, I get a Starburst. And like every time you get into a house,
you got a puppy and dog response, bro.
That's brilliant. I love that.
The mini one?
That's the best bicycle I know.
That's called a classically trained manipulation tactic.
I do the same thing but with water. So like I've been doing it the last week. Like I only drink water if I have a positive interaction. Like I feel like I've like got my 3 no's. Like if I pussy out, I don't drink water. So I have this like I'm like yeah. Don't drink water.
us more.
Or sometimes, like, if I don't want to knock, like, I'm like, okay, I can only take a sip if I knock the door. And, like, 'cause if I sit there, you know what I mean? Like, I can just sit around and try and do this or that. It's like, okay, I only get to drink if I do the job, kind of thing, you know?
I like it. See you guys.
I just kind of laugh about it. Like, if someone's being rude, I need to reset. It's like, shh, seriously? Like, just, like, okay.
Yeah, it goes back to the Dan Moser. If Dan Moser was here, he would tell you to spread your legs, and there's like a string hanging, and you just pull the string. Like that would be the Dan Moser advice.
Pull the tampon up.
Yeah. Pull the tampon up.
Pull the tampon
I try to make every door a win. Whether it's getting water or like using the bath. Like if I can tell they're not gonna buy it, at least try to make them do something for me. So where I'm still getting something out of the interaction. Whereas like whether it's a water, and if I already have like 3 bottles of water, I'll just take their bottle, the bottle they gave me, and throw it in their trash can. And just like as like a fetch you, like. Yeah, it's like like when I'm walking away, like I'll walk up through their driveway, and then like I'll walk away like through their grass, or like spit on their grass.
No. You're done. We're not doing any of that.
I got one.
I like key their car all the way out.
I got one.
Just spit a loogie on their glass.
Yeah, I'll play a song.
Okay.
I hit the neighbor shit. That thing, so
Hit the neighbor from a different angle.
walk to the other side of the street and start on that side. I feel like I just started my day.
Some good ones. Names of dogs were terrible. Johnny's was good.
Simple one. Alright, serious one. Focus on your breathing.
Yeah.
Like intentionally breathing for a minute when we're stressed. We're not actually breathing probably. Just exhale.
Double inhale. That's actually bad by yourself.
Nice.
One I was doing, I had my street sheet notes, and then I had another note, and it was called Why, and it had like all these reasons I was knocking or the competition I was in, and I would read through that note between every store.
Hey, stop talking. Yeah, that's smart.
So,
Goal oriented.
Writing your why, yeah, because we have our why boards in here, so we see them every day, but if you have them on your iPad, or even you set like your screensaver as your why and stuff like that, so you're constantly reminded every day. I have like a reminder on my phone at 5:30 every day. It says give it everything you got. And it just like I'll forget about it, and I'll get a ding on my phone, I'm like, oh, yeah, you're right.
Lamont, like, was sharing something with me yesterday that was really helpful. It's like, if you're complete, like, solely goal orientated in terms of like, you just have a carrot in front of you and you're kind of just working towards like the incentive or the dollar value or the pay jump or whatever. Like the dopamine that your brain releases, like eventually gets slower and subsides. But if you can focus on the journey instead of the destination, like kind of like enjoy the grit and enjoy the work, rather than kind of like, I hate knocking this door, but I like what it gives me. If you can go, I like knocking this door because I grow, then that is like, you have to lie to yourself, trick yourself, like, and basically like, yeah, like, I enjoy the hustle. And that's something I try and do. Like how can I enjoy what I'm doing right now, rather than just being like sitting there and calculating like, oh, if I have this much money, I get this much back end, and if I do this, I win this or whatever. It's like, well, eventually, like, you have enough money that you don't really give a shit. Like, you're like, okay, like, I win, I'll just buy it anyway. Like, I don't care. Like, but like, if you can be like, hey, like, I care about the journey more than the destination, then it's like you're not dragging your feet the whole time to the destination. It's like you get there effortlessly. So
I think a perspective shift too is like, for the most part, all of us are like pretty, I mean, like happy people. You know what I'm saying? Like we have to say, oh man, this job is so hard. This that. Like we come every single day. We're in a good mood. I give everyone a hug. Everyone's like happy to be here. Like that's a blessing, and a lot of people don't have that. A good example is the technicians. Corey and Nick were both salesmen. Way cooler guys when they were salesmen. They both suck ass at selling. Like they make way more money installing because they didn't sell shit. But they were way happier when they were here. Like way happier. Like Nick every single day. Corey was like the most fun guy ever.
I like never see Corey smiling. He
No, dude. Oh, bro, he was like everybody's favorite in the office, dude.
He's actually
he was
in the off season.
Really?
Off season.
Yeah. But that's a perspective shift, right? Like there's so many people that have to go into that office and they have a shitty attitude. They have to go like to the same office today, or they have to climb under a truck and fix something, and like there's no escape for them, right? So like I think genuinely, guys, like it's all about perspective. And we do a pretty awesome job. Like, yes, there are definitely hard aspects to it, but yeah, this the community of it that we have is a blessing. So yeah, enjoy the process. It's fun. All right, Ron. A one-liner, and then something that you could get better at.
I think it's pretty simple, but I use it a lot. It's like, if I've heard they thought about doing cameras or security, or I've got them to agree with it, I'll usually be like, what's been holding you back the most, the money, time, or hassle? And then whatever they tell me, that's usually the biggest objection.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's easy to overcome after that.
Cool.
I get
I like it.
But it works.
Huh?
Address should we put on it?
For what?
Our home address?
Yeah, that's fine.
That's bad. You can just
Cool. And then what's one thing you need to work on or improve? You think?
I had this lady, like, I signed her up, everything was done, but she had an older system in there, and she was just like, I'm gonna call the company and see if they can give me a better deal, and then if they can give me a better deal, I'm gonna cancel on you, and that's what she ended up doing. So how do I prevent that from happening?
Yeah. What do you know which company it was?
It was like a local company, it was like a DIY, like, not a DIY, but like a hardwire system,
Yeah.
and she had it in the house.
Yeah. I would try and were you just doing an alarm system? Were you doing cameras for her? Or?
I did a camera and an alarm and a smart garage. And her
Yeah.
system was like hardwired and then powered up, so it was off.
Yeah. So I would just say, like, yeah, hypothetically, if you went to that company, is the only thing that you would be looking at is price, or would you want a service that actually is work? Like, what's more important to you, right? Because like, odds are you're gonna call them, and they're gonna give you a lower deal because you have a landline-based system. But the power was just out of your house 2 weeks ago. Your system wouldn't have called. So would you rather have a system that's a little bit cheaper, or would you rather have a system that's actually going to work? Like, which one's more important to you? And then just like tie it down to that first, right? It's like buying a parachute, right? If you had your whole family up in an airplane, the pilot says the plane's going down. Would you buy the parachute that's the cheapest, that might work, or would you buy the parachute that's a little bit more expensive that you know is going to work? Which one would you buy?
I like that.
Yeah, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, that's what I'm saying. Like, well, I'll just go with the cheapest one. Like, yeah, I mean, I could use my bed sheet and jump out of a plane with that. Like, it might work, right? It'd be way cheaper. Or I could buy the parachute that I know is going to work. That has a backup parachute, right? Cellular backup.
And like my thing's kind of like that. They'll be like, yeah, like it could go with my company. And I'm like, oh yeah, like why haven't you? And like, why haven't they done it for you yet? Or, and I'll usually focus on service. But yeah, like, just like you have an agent for your house, I'm the agent for your system, here to help you out. It's clear that your one's a bit outdated, but we just try and do regular updates, that kind of thing, and just make them feel like if they're going with us, like local technicians, getting good updates, that kind of thing. It's like, like, it's going to be the same, like, some companies are obviously going to be drastically different, but like, they call, it beeps, like, you pay for monitoring, but like, they're going to buy from you, and if they feel looked after, and so. Yeah,
and a lot of times with local companies, I'm like, yeah, they're local, but if the power goes out, they don't have the technicians and the different monitoring stations. So like the power is out, they have a local monitoring station. No one's in that office to monitor their house because a tornado just went through or because the power went out. ADT has 7 monitoring stations all across the US. But yeah, you go with a local company, there's a natural disaster, that's when security systems are important. Because people know houses are susceptible, they're more likely to get broken into. So if you're with a local company, you have no resources. ADT has 7 different monitoring stations all across the US, and we have hundreds of local technicians that'll be able to handle that. And then a lot of times I'll say too, like a research close, hey, let's say I give you 2 weeks to do your research, what would be the deciding factor at the end of all of that? Price, product, service, which would be most important to you? Would you go with just the one that's the cheapest? Or would you go with the one that's gonna work, right? Like what's most important to you out of those 3 when it comes to security? And then, because a lot of times we think that like, oh, if we don't have the best price, we can't sell them. Yeah, you can. It's just a value thing, right? You have to figure out, hey, what's important to them. And a good example to use is the parachute. Hey, you're up on a plane. I'm not selling a security system. I'm selling you a parachute. And I can give you the cheap parachute that might work. You got your whole family up there, or you can get the little bit more expensive parachute that you know is going to work. Which one would you pay for?
I like to get your whole family up there.
Your whole family. The plane's going down.
That's a little.
I'm selling parachute.
It's on fire. Your child is screaming.
Yeah.
It gets a little cheaper than the cheap
You're
one.
pregnant.
It works about 70% of the time. You could buy this one. It's probably going to work for it.
Or she gets flat on the ground.
It's worked the last few times.
Last time it worked.
Last time.
Yeah. So, okay, cool. What was your shirt size, Ron?
What kind of shirts do you use?
Alright, Kyle.
One that I like to use for a one-liner is I like to use. No stealing the show. One I like to use is I like to use like a story. I feel like stories sell and facts fail. So I'll always like kind of tell a story as like a tie down. People usually respond really well to it. And the way that I usually do it is like, well, just like with Gina down the street or whoever it is, like who had her car broken into, her biggest thing was actually the alarm. That way she was like, who's not to say if they're getting my car, they come back and get my car. And then like kind of tell a story. Or like I'll tell stories that people have shared in the office, like Nate's with the smoke detector. Cause like, and then I actually say that a lot, like tell that story. Because then it gets people actually thinking about it, like, oh, it's happened in the past and it's happened around here. But people don't think about that kind of stuff until it happens to them. So when you share a story of it happening to somebody else, it just makes it feel more real than if I was to say, well, oh, well, the fire happens every 15 seconds. Like, I feel like telling the actual story about it has more of an impact than like sharing a statistic. Big facts.
So
I feel like that helps me a lot.
Okay.
And I'd say a question that I have is one thing I struggle with is like when people are like, oh, well, we have like family issues right now, or like we just had this, or like we just had that, or like, oh, I had a hard day at work, like I don't want to do this right now. It's like I have very little empathy for people who complain about like their problems for why they can't do it, and like kind of makes me angry because everybody has their own issues. Like I'm not coming to the door and be like, hey, I have this and this going on in my life right now. So it's like that's why I'm out here doing this. Like I'm not bringing my problems to work. So it's like I don't know how to respond when somebody's like, oh well, we have like a family issue or like an emergency or like I have this going on at work. Like I don't really care.
Yeah.
I mean, that's valid. It's very valid. It pisses me off. It's a very valid thing you're feeling.
We do have to remember we came to their house, right? So it's always important to be respectful and mindful of that. You never want to get smart with people because I don't want to get doors slammed in my face because you were an asshole to somebody and everyone posted on the groupie that some ADT guy said that they don't care about their dead grandma. Like, that's not a good look.
Well, no, obviously I'm not saying.
Yeah, I know you're not, I know, but I'm just saying, like, I don't want this to be misinterpreted. Like, I understand what you're feeling. We all feel that same thing.
Just tell me more how to deal with that or, like, overcome that.
Yeah, and I understand. Like, if you've looked into security companies, it's a pain. You got to call up a company. You got to wait a couple weeks. They come to your house. They write you a quote. You have to do, like, $1,000 down, something crazy. I don't want this to be another thing on your plate. I want to make this super easy for you. I just need your help. Got it?
Okay.
And then just make it seem like, hey, this is going to be super easy. I don't want to put another thing on your plate right now. And then make it seem like if they were seeking it out themselves, it would be a big pain in the ass. Oh, I understand. Like, I'm sure you've looked at security. Everyone has. You got to call up the different companies. You have to wait 2 or 3 weeks. They send out a salesman. They write you up some big quote. It's just a real big pain in the butt. My job is just to make this easy. I need help with advertising. I'll make this super easy. You guys just got to keep a sign out and waive everything for that. That way it's not another thing on your plate. Off the honeydew list. You be looking at your cameras tonight so you feel safe, okay? Let me show you real quick how it works.
I feel like sometimes low-key being their therapist for a second helps. I don't know why. I feel the need to be. I'm like, I'm one of those guys that just is like, what, for real? What's that? What's that like? I'm one of those guys. I draw that out of people, even though I don't actually care. But like you can, it's like if they feel hurt for just a second, like they might let you be hurt. So like, even if you don't care, it's like, oh no way, man. Yeah, that sucks. Life is hard, man. I get it. Like holy crap, you know how long have you been doing? That sucks. But look, let me take one thing off. Let me take one more thing off your plate. Like myself. Sympathize. Act like you care a little bit. No.
What's your shirt size? Small.